satellite carrying amateur radio (AR) satellite. Dr. T. Jaishktiwell, VU3UOM of University of Madras experimenting with satellite antenna to receive signals. Orbiting satellite carrying amateur radio (OSCAR), launched by Mr. Ashraf Farhan, VU2ESE, a ham from Hyderabad.
In the midst of hurricane season, preparedness is a must.
This is Kilo Hotel 6, Mike.
Michael Miller is part of the volunteer amateur radio operators, also known as hams. In the event of an emergency with severe infrastructure failure, they could be our last resort to push life-saving information.
If we're hit by a hurricane, and that's what this drill is simulating, what's going to happen is the internet will go down on one or more islands, and counties will not be able to communicate. So what we're going to be able to do is set up our radios and our computers to be able to send voice messages.
Miller says there are more than 3,000 people who are FCC licensed to operate high-frequency radios. The hams are planning on doing an emergency training exercise next month. The idea is to share information between the islands. Hams will be encouraged to deploy their stations using off-grid power, basically pretending that electricity and cell phone services have gone dark.
Every day at 9 o'clock, noon, and 4 o'clock, there's an inter-island net that connects all the islands together. So if one island was out of power or out of cell service, you could still communicate with the other islands.
K6LT, you're loud and clear. My location is Haiku Valley, Kaneohe.
The Hawaii Department of Health recommends people have at least 14 days supply of food if a hurricane does approach the islands, and families should have an emergency plan and a meetup location if separated. For Miller, operating high-frequency radios has become a hobby, but it's a hobby that could save a life when it's needed most.
With that, we'll send it back to you, Michael K6ML, WH6KM.
Max Rodriguez, KHON2 News, working for Hawaii.
Disaster Relief Vehicle, ambulance fitted with ham radio. An innovative project of Mr. Suri. Disaster Relief Vehicle, ambulance fitted with amateur, ham, radio of NIAR. Mr. Bascom J. Wilson, W0AIR Executive Director of the Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Response Association, DERA, also ham radio expert, USA visited Orissa in October 1999 to study the role of Indian hams during super cyclone disaster in India. Not only appreciated but also honored Mr. Suri in Washington, USA. Awareness and training programs. Sri Tridandi Chinna J.R. Swami introduces ham radio to Vedic students with Ram Mohan Suri, VU2MYH. Students of Jiva Gurukul, near Shamshabad using walkie-talkie. Ham station antenna and tent at National Scouts Jamboree 2016, Mysore. S. Ram Mohan, VU2MYH demonstrating at National Scouts Jamboree 2016, Mysore. Home brewing, do it yourself. Hams make their own equipment. Odisha Super Cyclone Emergency Communications. Mr. Suri watching Mr. Gaming, Chief Minister of Orissa operating ham radio in Odisha during Super Cyclone Emergency Communications in 1999. Used a vehicle as mobile station during emergency communications by volunteer hams left to right Anil VU3PAK, Raju VU3GVR. Nepal earthquake 2015 emergency communications at Kathmandu. Ram Mohan VU2MYH, son of Mr. Suri along with a team of ham radio volunteers were sent immediately to Nepal via Delhi. Government of India provided them military aircraft to Nepal along with other relief material. They served in earthquake emergency communications at Kathmandu and at the epicenter, Gorkha, for rescue and relief operations. Great public service in our neighbor nation. Ravindra 9N3A Nepalese ham operating emergency communication station of 2015 Nepal earthquake from Gorkha with Jose Jacob, VU2JOS of NIAR. Earthquake relief operations, ham radio control room at house of Mr. Keshubhai Patel, Chief Minister of Gujarat. Under the leadership of Mr. Suri, NIAR establishes ham radio station at the house of Mr. Keshubhai Patel, Chief Minister of Gujarat, during earthquake emergency communications. Mr. Patel operates the station helped by Ms. Bhanumathi VU2BL and Mr. S.B. Ram VU2LIC. Cyclone Hudhud in 2014 and Port Blair tsunami in 2004. Tom K. Jose VU2TOX VU3TMO operated from Police Control Room Vishakhapatnam during emergency communication for Cyclone Hudhud in 2014. For this he was honored in USA Dayton HAMVENTION 2015. Tom was invited to lunch with astronaut Ham in USA. He also met a Nobel laureate Ham in Germany. Ms. Bharti Prasad VU2RBI operating emergency communication station from Port Blair after tsunami in 2004. Washington Post wrote an article titled, Angels of the Sea. She is #1 in the world among women hams for contacting many hams through her radio and received award, Ambassador on Air. Received awards in USA. Cyclone Hudhud in 2014. S. Suri VU2MY operating a mobile ham radio station for emergency communication for Cyclone Hudhud from Srikakulam 2014. Mr. Ram Mohan, son of Suri, Chief Executive Officer, NIAR organized tsunami emergency communications in Andaman and Nicobar Islands. Mr. Ram Mohan and Mr. Ramu VU2DVO were specially flown to Nicobar Islands by helicopter from Port Blair. This island was badly damaged, including the Air Force Station. Near open space at Jetty, they had set up ham station and communications restored. Uttarakhand floods 2013.
Amateur radio enthusiasts known as hams are into many expeditions to several exotic islands, North Pole etc. They take their equipment and operate to make several contacts with fellow hams across the world. NIAR under the leadership of Mr. Suri has conducted more than 12 expeditions within India, also in Costa Rica, Central America, and also in Europe. NIARD Expedition, Lakshadweep 2007. International Hams Group at Lakshadweep Island. Young Lady Bharti, VU2RBI working on ham radio Lakshadweep in 2007, in which many hams from several countries participated. She along with Suri were invited to address several countries' hams. Big achievers in ham and assisting NIAR. Gordon West has been a ham radio operator for more than 50 years. Holding the top extra class license with call sign WB6 NOAA. He also holds the highest FCC commercial operator license, the first class general radio telephone certificate with radar endorsement. Gordon teaches evening ham radio classes and offers weekend ham radio licensing seminars on a monthly schedule. He was honored by ARRL and DARA USA. Dr. Ishwarya Lakshmi Chinnam started her career as personal assistant to Mr. S. Suri, VU2MY, Chairman, NIAR at Hyderabad in 1990s. She was under his guidance for several years. She attended to some of the rescue and relief operations. She quickly learnt many aspects of administration and media. She is one among many successful entrepreneurs coming from the family of NIAR. She produces a magazine Reflections and travels extensively all over the world, especially in all countries of Africa.
Suri VU2MY briefing Dr. Manmohan Singh, the Prime Minister of India, about communications by hams after tsunami in Andaman Islands. Left. Appreciation letter from Dr. Manmohan Singh. The Government of India and State Government of Orissa and several others have honoured Mr. Suri for his public services. Mr. Naveen Patnaik, Honourable Chief Minister, honoured him for his work in Orissa Super CYCLONE 1999. 1. Mr. Rajiv Gandhi, VU2RG, former Prime Minister of India, operated ham radio equipment of NIAR at Vijayawada on his visit after the cyclone. 2. As Honourable Prime Minister sent appreciation letter to Mr. Suri during the successful expedition conducted in Andaman and Nicobar Islands in 1987